And with that, let me introduce you to Mr. Kenneth Carter.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Let me see if I can get my technology working. How's that? Is that better? I just want to again thank you for coming out. I want to first take the time out to share with you my accompanist, Mr. Philip Field. Mr. Field is the musical director for the North Jersey Philharmonic B Club, a 75-and-a-half-year-old African-American men's singing organization.
Amen.
He sang at the White House and other places around the world during that time. And this gentleman on Carnegie Hall stage at 8, playing the piano. So you see who I have with me here. I'm blessed to have him here. Give him a hand, please. Paul Robeson is my idol because of the spirit that he displayed wherever he went. Born in Princeton in 1998 and went to Rutgers, where he, I'm sorry?
1998.
I'm sorry, 1890, my bad. No, I'm a year ahead. 1898, you're right. But when he joined Rutgers, he was the first African-American to become a member of the football team. But before he could get off the ground as an athlete in that sport, his teammates broke his thumbs on the field while he was in practice, and he was not able to use his hands for a while, but he went on to be a double letter man. He put Rutgers State University on the map, and New Jersey, by the way, on the map back there in the early 1900s. He later went on to Columbia University to get his degree in law. However, he was not able to practice law because while he did well as a researcher in law and shot through the ball, what's the exam? The bar exam. The bar exam. Shot right through it. But the firm that he was working with said, listen, you cannot go in front of a judge and plead a case. You can do the research in the back room, but you can't get in front of a judge, although you're an attorney, because you are, they call us then Negroes, right? He was a black man, African, couldn't do it. So he decided to go on and pursue his career in singing and acting. But everywhere he went, he never forgot his people. The Jim Crow experiences that we were going through at that time, the hangings, the lynchings, the inequality in education and economics. He always spoke of his people. Even when he went to Russia and lived, he remembered us every time. Every time he did a concert, he took out the time to remember and lament about our condition here, because he never stopped fighting for his people. Even when they took his passport later, for 10 years, he was not able to make money, and even some of the African-American churches wouldn't even let him come and sing. He never stopped fighting for his people. And so that's why he's my idol today. And so I want to sing a few songs in his memory. He made the African-American Negro spiritual famous, but not just that, but folk songs, not just in African-American communities, but Irish communities, Wales and Europe, all over the world, Russia. He sang about the plight and the injustice that those peoples were suffering. And he did it with courage and dignity, and he never stopped. So we're going to share with you a few of those songs tonight. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, by and
By, I'm gonna lay down this heavy load.
oh, by and by.
By and by, I'm gonna lay down this heavy load.
Oh, my robe's gonna fit me well.
I'm gonna lay down this heavy load.
I tried it on at the gates of hell.
I'm gonna lay down this heavy load.
Oh, by and by.
By and by, I'm gonna lay down this heavy load.
By and by.
By and by, I'm gonna lay down this heavy load.
One of these mornings bright and fair,
I'm gonna lay down this heavy load.
gonna take to my wings and cleave the air.
I'm gonna lay down this heavy load.
Oh, by and by.
By and by, I'm gonna lay down this heavy load.
Oh, by and by.
By and by, I'm gonna lay down this heavy load.
The Philippines. Many of the old Negro spirituals takes us all back, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
I was born in a place called Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I lived there until I was 10 years old, and then later migrated first to Wilmington, Delaware, and then later to New Brunswick, and then finally to Newark, New Jersey by the time I was 12, and actually matriculated grade school and middle school and high school in Newark. And I said to myself, you know, I'm not ever going to go back to Fayetteville, North Carolina, the place of my birth, and live. And I still maintain that. And many friends say, why? I said, well, because down on Person Street, in the center of Fayetteville, North Carolina, is the market house where they sold the slaves. It's still there. Now it's been blown up a couple of times now, don't make no mistake, but it was rebuilt, and it seems to be some kind of a shrine. So clearly you can understand why I won't be going back to Fayetteville to stay.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long ways from home. A long ways from home. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. A long ways from home.
The old Negro spiritual was a tool for the slave in America. This African who was brought over and put into slavery purely for economic reasons, yes? There were a lot of reasons why the slave master justified it in his mind, but he knew full well that we were all human, yes?
Yes.
But you know, when you do bad things, you're trying to, justify it in your mind, right? So you can rationalize it, and it makes more sense. But it was all about economics, and so it's, well, you're not really a human. You're just maybe 2/3, maybe. And all of the various and sundry poems that were meted out on these, many of them kings and queens and princesses that were brought over to make money, 256 years of it. But that African spiritual was one of the tools we used to imbue in us the strength necessary to move forward and keep on going. Huh? And here we are. And we're not done yet. Yes?
I've got a home in a dead rock, don't you see? I've got a home in a dead rock, don't you see? Between earth and sky, thought I heard my Savior cry. You got a home in a dead rock, don't you see? Oh man, Lazarus, poor as I, don't you see? Oh man, Lazarus, poor as I, don't you see? Oh man, Lazarus, poor as I, when he died he found a home on high. He had a home in a dead rock, don't you see? Rich man died, he lived so well, don't you see? Rich man died, he lived so well, don't you see? Rich man died, he lived so well. When he died, he found a home in hell. He had no home in a dead rock, don't you see? God gave no other rainbow sign, don't you see? God gave no other rainbow sign, don't you see? God gave no other rainbow sign, no more water but fire next time. You better get a home in a dead rock, don't you see? You better get a home in a dead rock, don't you see?
So many stories. And yet today, diaries of slaves gone by are still being discovered. But we know this: we are only one species, and it doesn't matter what color you are. That same energy permeates all of us. Yes?
Yes.
It's our thinking that's the challenge. Yes? That's the challenge. So we gotta get there.
Steal away, steal away, steal away to Jesus. Steal away home. I ain't got long to stay here. My Lord, He calls me by the thunder. The trumpet sounds within my soul. I ain't got long to stay here. Steal away, steal away, steal away to Jesus. Steal